Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our last presenter, fourth presenter, Miss Yesi Trinoviani from SMP Negeri 12 Sukabumi with topic Social Media Instagram in EFL Learning to develop students' digital literacy skills. The room is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Atiko. Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, the committee, and all the participants of ISODEL 2021. It is truly an exciting experience for me to be part of this prestigious event. My name is Yesi Trinoviani from SMP Negeri 12 Sukabumi, West Java, Indonesia. And in this occasion, I would like to present my paper in the field of digital literacy entitled Social Media Instagram in EFL Learning to develop students' digital literacy skills. So this is the outline of my presentation. Yeah, so let's start with the background of the study. There are several triggering points that become the background of the study. The first one is about the digital technology. Yeah, as we know, the digital technology has spread very rapidly in almost all spheres of our lives. And also, as the result of COVID-19 pandemic, there are many activities that has been shifted to digital forms. For example, like we are doing now, online conferencing, and also even shopping, we can do it in digital market. And this condition also affect the educational practice. The teaching and learning process is now delivered online using digital tools such as Google Meets, Google Classroom, and so on and so forth. And to be involved in this digital learning environment, the students need to possess such skills as operating digital devices, finding information from internet, for example, or submitting their assignment online. And however, there is an urge to constantly improve students' digital literacy skills. Unfortunately, some studies show that the level of digital literacy skills of most Indonesian students is still low. And therefore, the notion of improving students' digital literacy skills has become one of the 5 priorities in the government's plans. The other point is that it has been acknowledged that social media can help to improve students' digital literacy skills. And as we know, nowadays, social media has penetrated into our daily life. Almost all people have social media account. Also, my students in my school, they manage several social media accounts such as Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok. And Instagram is one useful and powerful tool in English as a foreign language teaching and learning. And developing students' digital literacy skills is also one essential thing in EFL learning, as the goal of EFL learning nowadays is not only on the ability to read and write, but also on the ability to communicate in both face-to-face and digital media. And based on the backgrounds, this study aims to answer this following research question. The first is, does Instagram-based activity contribute to the development of students' digital literacy skills? And what dimensions of digital literacy skills are developed through Instagram-based activity? And the last, based on the student's perspective, what are the benefits of Instagram-based activity in EFL learning will also be investigated. And this is the theoretical framework of my study. This is the definition of digital literacy proposed by Paul Gisters in 1997 that stated that digital literacy is the skills required to use technology and information from digital devices effectively and efficiently. And this is also the 8 dimensions of digital literacy skills proposed by Hage and Payton 2010 that divided digital literacy skills into 8 dimensions that involve functional skills, creativity, critical thinking, cultural and social understanding, collaboration, communication, find and select information, and also e-safety. And this is several related studies in the field of digital literacy and also the use of social media Instagram. It can be seen that based on the study, the use of social media Instagram is beneficial in EFL learning. And the use of digital media is effective to improve the students' digital literacy skills. Yeah. Moving on to the methodology of this study, both quantitative and qualitative method were employed in this study. And for the participants, there are 80 junior high school students that were selected randomly, and 40 students were labeled as experimental group, and the rest were labeled as control group. And this is the demography of the participants. Most of them are in the range age of 14 and 15, and they are having personal device with internet connection, having social media account, and spend about 5 to 8 hours on internet per day. Yeah, the data of this study were collected through this instruments. The first one is questionnaire that was adapted from Index of Digital Literacy that was released by Kementerian Komunikasi and Informatika in 2020. And the questionnaire was administered before and after the treatment to both experimental and control group. And for the observation, it was conducted during the 6 meeting treatments only to the experimental group. And for the interview, it was conducted to 3 students of experimental group to investigate their perspective on the use of Instagram in the FL learning. So this is the key findings. The first one is the findings that gained from the questionnaire before the treatment. It can be seen that both groups were in the moderate level. Yeah, the orange one is the experimental group, and the purple one is the control group. It can be seen that the score of experimental group was 3.05, while the control group was 3.04. Yeah, and this is the data gained after the treatment. It can be seen that the index of digital literacy of experimental group students was increased from moderate level to the good level, while the control group remained in moderate level. It can be seen the index of digital literacy of experimental group was increased to 4.04, while the control group is 3.08. Yeah, this is in details, the increase of a score gaining by the experimental group in each dimension. It can be seen that the increase is in the dimension of the ability to find and select information, critical thinking, communication, cultural and social understanding, personal safety, device safety, and also functional skills. And all the dimensions of digital literacy were developed. Yeah, to triangulate the data, I conducted observation to experimental group, and the students demonstrated the development of digital literacy in this dimension. The first one in finding, selecting information, critical thinking, communication, creativity, safety, and functional skills. For example, when in the dimension of find and select information, the students utilize Instagram to find and select information using hashtag. And it demonstrated the development in finding and selecting information. And also in the other dimension, I observed that there is, the students demonstrated the development. And this is the key findings from interview that I conducted to 3 students of experimental group. And it was revealed that Instagram makes the learning materials more interesting and understandable. And second, Instagram is a useful platform to display and exhibit the students' work. And Instagram can help initiate communication and interaction, which also involve in digital literacy skills. And Instagram enhance the students' creativity, which also involve in digital literacy skills. Yeah, this is the result of analysis from questionnaire. It can be seen that the index of digital literacy of students were increased from moderate to good level. And also from observation, it can be seen that the student demonstrated development in 8 dimensions of digital literacy skills. And also from the interview, the students confirmed that Instagram is beneficial in EFL learning as well as developing their digital literacy skills. And the point that can be drawn into conclusion is that it was confirmed that Instagram contributed to the development of students' digital literacy skills. And it was also confirmed that Instagram has several advantages in EFL learning as the platform for students to display and exhibit their works, as the media for communication, and also as the media to foster students' creativity. As I mentioned earlier, that communication, creativity, and the other dimension is what forms the digital literacy skills. Yeah, this is the screenshot of my Instagram English page for my students. Yeah, I think that's all of my presentation. Back to Ibu Atiko. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the inspiration of presentation that have given to all participants here. I give big applause for you. Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many questions I see in the chat room here. Thank you very much for all presenters for the informative and interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to question and answer session. For the first session or for the first segment, I see there are so many. Okay. I will read the question from the participant in this chat room. Wait a minute. Okay. This question for Bapak or Mr. Marito and Stella from Pak Iwan. Hello, Mr. Marito. Okay, or Miss Stella. Okay.
Okay, since Marito
The question
is no longer here, so I think I will, on behalf of it.
Yeah, the question is from the preliminary data, how big is the skill gaps between the university graduate as reflected in the curriculum and the demand side as reflected with the job specification from the job market? And the second question is how big the gap is in new or infant skill requirement such as metaverse?
Okay, I will try to answer it by showing the graph that I have already calculated here. So if we can see the demand on the horizontal level from demand 1 until demand 9 here, we can see that courses contribute at most under level of 50%. As we can see, this is the plot area of 50%. So Pak Iwan, as we can see, it's just a view of course categories that can meet the supply demand, not more than 85%. So if you're asking about the gap, I think it's a huge gap that need us to concern about, as well as the metaverse itself. As we can see, the top 10 skill needed for the software engineering will lead us to the need of metaverse in the future. So I think that this graph can answer both the question. Okay, buat Tiko,
Okay.
is that clear enough to answer your question?
Okay. Pak Iwan, Miss Stella have answered your question. I hope the answer can answer your question. Okay, thank you, Miss Stella. And I will read the next question for Mr. Cipta. The research said that the dominant mean is to use video conferencing room like Meet, Zoom, etc. via mobile phone. Due the relatively small size of screen and limited interaction capability, how it is going to affect the level of engagement and the delivery of the learning materials, especially in the blended learning setup. Considering the research found out that students are showing interest to use technology in learning. Mr. Cita, the room is yours.
Okay, thank you, Vetika. Thank you, Pak Hermawan, for your question. I think from Pak Iwan, I think I need to share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, is it? Okay. So actually the blended learning can be implemented for the before teaching and learning begin, and while the lesson begin, and also after the lesson given. So to overcome the limitations from the interaction through the video conference, I think when these three bubbles are adapted by the teachers, so the teachers will know that they can give the autonomy for the students to learn by himself, like we do for the flipped classroom. So let the students learn first, and then after that, while the lesson begins, that's only the discussion, for the dialogue, for the debate, for the collaboration, and only give the practice or give the self-evaluation. Okay, I think that can overcome the limitation of the video conference limitation for the engagement of learning. Thank you, Vetika.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And hopefully all the answer can inspire all participants here. Okay, next, the question for Miss Yesi. Okay. Is it possible that the level of digital literacy for learning is also influenced their day-to-day use the digital platform? In this case, is Instagram. So they are already familiar in the non-education setup. How? The room is yours, Miss Yesi.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Haimiwan, for the questions. I will answer the question. Is it possible that the level of digital literacy for learning is also influenced by their day-to-day use of Instagram? Yes, it is very possible. However, as I observed before the treatment, in spite of their digital nativity, they still lack of digital literacy skills. I mean, for example, when they have social media account, in this case Instagram, they have Instagram, but when I ask them to, for example, search or find information about when I teach procedure text, I ask them to search recipe of omelette, for example, they still confused about using the hashtag. And in other dimension, for example, in critical thinking dimension, they cannot differ which information that credible and not. And through our guide as the teacher, I guide them, for example, to get credible information, we can get from a verified account that have a blue check in their profile, something like that. So what can I say is that before, in spite of their digital nativity, they still lack of digital literacy skills. In my school, the students in my school, perhaps for the students in a big city, such as, big city, the students will be familiar with the Instagram, but the students in my school, they are still lacking of digital literacy skills. Their skills was very limited, in my opinion. Yes, perhaps it answer your questions. Thank you, Ibu Atika.
Okay, hopefully answer Pak Iwan question. Okay, the next, the question for me, from me, I myself, I address the question to Mr. Haimiwan. How to use blockchain in the education sector and the challenges in implementing blockchain technology, especially in education sector. This the room is yours, Mr. Haimiwan.
Thank you, Bu Atika. I would like to share my screen then. Okay, hold on. So the implementation of blockchain in education mainly is for digital credential system. So basically to replace our certificates for graduation, etc. So let me show you this diagram. This is the implementation at the ICE Institute. So in the ICE Institute, you can take courses from many universities, including universities, overseas universities. And once you finish, for example, let's say I take a class of marketing, and I got it from Gajah Mada University in Jogja. So Gajah Mada will list the courses, and once I finish, ICE will issue the certificate on behalf of Gajah Mada, and the certificate will be recorded also in the blockchain. And why it is different with the setup, if let's say we store it in digital database, ordinary digital database. In the blockchain, it's like when we have voting ballot during the election. For example, this one is the governor and vice governor of Jakarta, I think, a couple of years ago. We always can see the progress for vote number 1 up to vote number 100, for example. There is no way that people will alter the vote. So it is the same thing. Once, let's say in that case, Gajah Mada already issued that I myself already passed the course of marketing, the score, let's say 80, and I got a B grade. There is no way that in the future I hire a hacker to change the score into 95, so I got an A. Or for example, the possibility that I bribe someone at the university to change the score. And that's why it's called usually a learning passport, because it will be intact and can be recalled anytime for the student. So that's the idea. So basically to record and just keep it just like a voting ballot, just like a passport. And it will create in the higher education setup because first I can have a certificate like this But also it is possible also to break down the courses. For example, let's say the course of marketing, it may consist of let's say 5 different subjects, actually subtopics. It is possible for Gajah Mada to issue 5 different certificates actually for me. And then it will show that I'm probably good at marketing of products, but not good at marketing of services. So it will affect, to borrow with Stella and Pak Marito's presentation, how I fit with the job market. So that's how it will change, and yeah, it will be reflected. And in relationship with the Campus Merdeka initiative, for example, if under the Campus Merdeka, I also have an internship in, let's say, a marketing agency, the score will be also recorded. So that's why it is usually called a verifiable credential, because we can verify the credential. So that's how basically in the blockchain implementation in the education sector. Hopefully it answers.
Thank you, Mr. Haimiwan. Excellent, very interesting answer. From what I don't know to know clearly. Once more, Mr. Haimiwan from Bapak Joni. What about the moral value or ethic to use blockchain in education sector? Moral value.
That's
Yeah.
interesting question actually, because the premise of blockchain is that the actor is corrupt, frankly speaking. So then from the moral point of view, because it is assuming that people cannot be trusted and the machine can be trusted, then the moral story is, I would like, probably it is not a right word, but it is like dehumanizing the process itself. So that's why in the paper we identify the possibility of resistance, because, for example, in the university setup, we have officers that are responsible to issue the certificate, to receive questions, to verify the certificates. Once you have the blockchain, practically they can be gone, because it can be conducted automatically. But that's always happen in any technological setup. So I guess it is a general question of moral in any technological implementation.
Okay, thank you. Now I will open one question directly to the speakers to raise hand. If there is participant, I invite participant who want to ask directly to the speakers. Is there any? Okay. Okay. Actually, I have one more question for Miss Yesi. Miss Yesi, in this research, you mentioned that Instagram social media can increase student creativity. How to measure the student literature capabilities, and how if compared with other social media?
Yeah, Ibu Atiko. Yeah, for the dimension of creativity, I measured the development of their digital literacy skills is by observation. The first is by observation. I instruct them to create a video using Reels features on Instagram, and they are very impressive. They are very creative compared with in face-to-face classroom. In face-to-face classroom, they sometimes feel shy and feel worried when I ask them to perform. However, in Instagram, they can edit, they can make the video more interesting, and they can feel confidence and convenient display their work on Instagram. However, compared to the other social media, because I can, because I haven't do the research about that, perhaps, but in the time, Instagram, I see Instagram as one useful thing and powerful in EFL teaching and learning.
Good idea. Okay. Let's see the time. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come to the end of the overall session. Before we end this session, allow me to briefly highlight important points from our session today. From the first presenters, say that the challenge to Indonesian online course developers, universities, and industry is to produce competencies which address the specific job demands and skill within these jobs, both technical skill and soft skill. From the second presenter state, blockchain implementation in the higher education institution may disrupt and shake the structural roles and relationship of the stakeholders. From the third presenter state, the teacher's technology adoption show positive tone. And the last, social media Instagram is beneficial in developing student digital literacy skills. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the end of our session today. I would like to say thank you to all presenters and participants for this enthusiastic and fruitful session. Sorry for all the mistakes while I was accompanying this event. I'm happy to be working with the speakers in this room. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for your attention. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. Please take a photo first. All participants in this room before we leave the room. Yeah. Okay. Can all the participants open your camera? Thank you. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Once more. Once more, please. Don't close the cam. Okay. 1, 2. Okay, bebas, please start. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, thank you. Enjoy the time. See you.
Thank you, Ibu Atiko.
Thank you, Ibu Atiko, Pak Hemiwan, Pak
Terima
Cipta.
kasih semuanya.
Welcome.
Semua.
Terima kasih.
Ya.